Bond. James Bond.
Good morning. My name's Bond. James Bond.
My name's Bond. James Bond.
Who are you?
Bond. James Bond.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
Bond. James Bond.
Oh no, Bond's in trouble. Who's more important? The Bond girl or the bad guy? Howdy, and welcome to episode 10 of Sammy Legend's James Bond Show. I am Sammy Legend. Here we are into the double digits on my show now. Today, I think we got a pretty fun one. I did some looking on YouTube for things related to this topic, and I couldn't find anything that was specifically this. So today, we will be going over the Q gadgets in the films that actually saved James Bond's life. You know, there are other videos where they might rank the Q gadgets from best to worst or whatever, but they don't really specify a certain group that do a certain thing like I'll be doing today. I think this is a pretty fun one. I'm only going to be talking about the gadgets that directly save his life, not indirectly or after the fact, only when life or death to Bond is imminent. I'm not going to be including any of the James Bond cars.
Desolated, Mr. Bond.
Heartbroken, Mr. Drax.
They would just be the whole list. Everyone always mentions the cars and how awesome they are, and they are. And I'm a massive, massive, massive car guy my entire life. I love cars, but I'm going to omit them from this list. I'd like to shed some light on some of the lesser mentioned Q gadgets. I think that'll be an interesting topic to talk about. Probably a fresh take, something that a lot of people have not talked about in the past. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're doing a top 10 Q gadgets that actually saved James Bond's life. Before I get to those 10, I have 3 runner-ups. I'm going with the explosive Omega watch from Die Another Day. At the beginning of the movie, in the pre-title sequence, just as all seems lost and Bond is about to be shot to death, executed by Moon's goons, he uses the watch to trigger an explosion.
Don't blow it all at once.
And then he uses that diversion to escape his compound. Obviously to no avail, because he gets tortured for 13 months.
I don't condone what they do here.
Anyway, I'm going with the rebreather from Thunderball.
Now, in the event of a rebreather not being available, you can use this device.
He uses it after fighting a henchman underwater and then using it to continue his breathing while he's still underwater, and the sharks are released into the water after he dispatched of that henchman. And the shark is, rolling right by his face, and he's using it so he can still breathe. Also from Thunderball, the jetpack in the pre-title sequence. He uses it after he kills Jacques Bouvard, and he's, about to be shot by a bunch of random henchmen. Who knows who they are? And then, he jetpacks over to the Aston Martin.
No well-dressed man should be without one.
So that is the 3 runner-ups. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of this list. For number 10, I'm going with the explosive Omega from Spectre. Bond is getting tortured, and right as it's about to get worse, Madeline comes over. He gives her the watch. She throws it at Blofeld. And then Bond gets freed from the torture chair, and both Bond and Madeline escape Blofeld's compound. The dart gun from Moonraker. Bond is stuck in the centrifuge, and he's about to lose consciousness, and, worse could happen to him if he did pass out. if the centrifuge spun fast enough, long enough, the blood is gonna escape his brain, and after a few minutes, he'll be brain dead. No oxygen, no blood to his brain, and Bond would die.
Can go up to 20 Gs, but that would be fatal.
So he uses the dart gun to blow up the control panel inside the centrifuge pod that he's in to have it slow down so that way he can escape. As a bonus to that, at the end, when he's defeated Drax and his scheme, Drax has a gun pointed right at him. And again, you might think, oh no, Bond's in trouble. Drax is going to shoot him. Well, that don't happen. He uses the dart gun again and kills Drax and saves himself. So you got a double on that one for number 9. The lighter from License to Kill. After chasing the semi and being shot at and fighting Sanchez on the semi, and they're both covered in gas, Bond is spent. He's tired. He's just worn out, plain worn out. He's done. You can see it in his face. He's bleeding. He's out of breath. Just all of it. And just as Sanchez is about to get the upper hand, he's about to swing the Sanchez, I almost said. Swing the machete down on Bond.
You could have had everything.
Don't you want to know why?
And kill him. Bond uses the lighter.
James, love, always, Stella and Felix.
A gift from Felix from earlier in the movie, to set Sanchez on fire. And, again, as he's covered in gas from the semi, he just erupts in flames. And Sanchez is also the one who fed Felix to the shark at the beginning of the movie, or towards the beginning of the movie. And as a result, he lost a leg. And it was nice comeuppance for Sanchez to essentially be killed by the gift to Bond of the man that he had maimed. That was really, really cool. The attaché case from Russia with Love. When he's fighting Red Grant on the train, literally all the things in the case played a part in saving Bond's life. The coins that he offers when he's on his knees and Grant's got the gun on him, Bond's, what's he going to do? He can't really do much. If he goes to lunge forward, Grant's just going to shoot him. So he's got to play the game of wits with Red Grant. So he offers him 50 gold sovereigns, all the money that's in the case.
Then if you pull out these straps, inside are 50 gold sovereigns, 25 in either side.
And then, there's that second case that has it as well, so that would be 100 gold sovereigns. So he throws Grant off just a little bit in his scheme. So Grant then ends up opening the case, and the tear gas cartridge that's inside,
a tear gas cartridge,
explodes, allowing Bond to make his move and then attack Red Grant, and the fight ensues, which is that train scene, by the way, to me, in my opinion, I think is one of the best fight scenes in the entire franchise, and pretty violent and visceral, especially for 1963. That's pretty crazy. And then at the culmination of the fight, Bond uses the knife from the attaché case.
Press that button there. Now she comes.
As he's being choked by the garrote wire from Grant's watch, he uses the knife to stab Grant in the arm, releasing the pressure and the tension on Bond's neck so he can breathe, and then kill Grant with his own garrote wire, which is always great when the bad guy dies from their own stuff. That's great. So you got like a triple threat there. You got the coins, the gas cartridge, and the knife. And then, obviously it's all wrapped up in the case itself. Now we get into a little bit difficult territory. I will explain at the end, but number 6, 5, 4, and 3 are all really, really close together in terms of importance. I will explain at the end, but I will go ahead and get started with number 6. And that is the ski jacket from The World Is Not Enough. It saves him from being buried alive in the snow after the Parahawks crash together and explode and basically create like a mini avalanche, and it traps him and Electra King in the snow. And so the jacket surrounds them.
Pull the tag! You said
Seems well suited for the job.
And it saves them both. So that's a bonus that it ends up saving 2 people, not just Bond. That will be a recurring theme. Multiple people being saved.
That's called foreshadowing.
The buzzsaw Rolex from Live and Let Die. Bond uses it to cut the rope before being fed to the sharks, and then, obviously takes out the bad guy. But before that, he uses the rope to escape being caught up on the platform being lowered into the water.
Let our diners assemble.
And as a result, he also saves Solitaire. So he saved 2 people with that gadget, so that's a bonus there. The explosive Seiko from Moonraker. He uses it to escape from underneath the rocket before it's about to go off into space.
Place him where he can be assured of warmth.
Bang on time.
Bang on time.
And he also saves Holly Goodhead in the process. So that is another double save. The Laser Omega from GoldenEye. He uses it to escape from the train before it explodes.
So you destroy every vehicle you get into?
Alec Trevelyan set a trap, and he's got to use his wits and his skills and his gadgets to escape the train. He uses the Laser Omega, and as a bonus, he also saves Natalia. So there you have it. There is 6 through 3, and each one of those, he saves 2 people. And here's my justification for that. So I placed them that high on the list because they directly save more than one person. I have them in the order of what I feel is importance. We'll start at the highest and work down. So from 3, I have GoldenEye highest because he saves 2 people, but it takes place earlier in the movie. There is a lot more plot to come of the bad guy's scheme and everything. He ends up saving 2 people with that gadget way earlier in the movie. For 4, with Moonraker, saving 2 people, it happens just before the 3rd act. So there's still, the entire climax of the movie is still to happen. So there's not as much time as there was in GoldenEye, but there's still time left in the movie. For the Buzzsaw Rolex and Live and Let Die, that's pretty much right at the end of the movie. There's not really hardly anything else that happens after he saves himself in Solitaire. So that's really it for that one. So then for 6, you got The World Is Not Enough Ski Jacket. Yes, he saves 2 people, and it happens roughly in the middle of the movie, but the second person that he saves happens to be one of the bad guys. So I did it both in terms of how much movie is left, and then also at the end, who's more important, the Bond girl that he saves with him, or the bad guy? That is my justification for spots 3 through 6. This is a fun one. The Walther PPK. Bond's signature gun. He uses it from Dr. No, the very beginning.
Walther PPK. 7.65 mil with a delivery like a brick through a plate glass window.
All the way through to GoldenEye. Well, through GoldenEye. And then it's replaced by the Walther P99, which in my own opinion I think is a better, cooler looking gun. But I digress. So he uses the P99.
Hey, Walther, how's cute to get me one of these?
In Tomorrow Never Dies through Casino Royale. And then Bond goes back to the PPK in Quantum of Solace, and he uses that from Quantum of Solace all the way through again to the end of No Time to Die. Yeah, so that's, used on so many occasions in so many movies where he can save himself. It's like his number one, besides his car, which is, hit or miss in the movies. The PPK is like the one recurring gadget that he uses the most to save himself. Number 1, the top spot. Okay. I think that was a hell of a list, I'd say. For number 1, I'm going to go with the field medical kit that he has in the Aston Martin DBS in Casino Royale. Plain and simple, Bond was already dead. He literally died. His heart stopped beating. Bond was dead. And Vesper Lynd comes up, attaches the paddles, and pushes the pin in so that, the power pin, whatever, that, he couldn't push in, and zaps him back to life. So, he's literally already dead. So, like, it brought him back to life. What more could you ask for? What better gadget to save his life than the one that brings him back to life?
You were almost dead an hour ago.
That's just my opinion. That's what I think. Either way, all of these gadgets are all pretty cool, and really all the gadgets are cool in all the movies. They all, most of them serve a purpose, some don't. So that is my top 10 Q gadgets that have actually saved Bond's life, and I also included 3 runner-ups. That is it for this episode. This has been episode 10. 10, double digits of Sammy Legend's James Bond Show. I thank you for watching. I am Sammy Legend, and I'll see y'all next time. Shaken, not stirred.